This is John Groves coming to you from my home studio. For today's Bible talk, I would like to explore a somewhat speculative topic related to the spoils of David's victory over Goliath of Gath. We learn from the story that David made off with Goliath's armor and his severed head and sword as trophies of war. The practice of taking spoils from battle, including weapons, armor, and other items of value, is as old as warfare itself. And it certainly was no different during David's time. The Bible tells us that David took Goliath's armor and put it in his tent, and that he took Goliath's head to Jerusalem. Now, this last statement raises a very intriguing quandary for us. At the time, Jerusalem was a Jebusite city. It had not yet come under the control of the Israelites. And as a fortified city, Jerusalem would not necessarily have opened its doors to an Israelite. So just what did David do with Goliath's head? Some scholars believe that David may have simply exhibited the head so that the residents of the city could see that the Israelites were now a force to be reckoned with. And later, he may well just have buried it outside the city walls. Now, here's the part that I regard as very interesting. The place where this skull was buried is thought to have been Golgotha. Golgotha is an Aramaic word that means the place of the skull. Now, some scholars have suggested that the name Golgotha may well have been an abbreviated form of Goliath of Gath. You can see there the resemblance of sounds. Now, the burial of Goliath's head and the notoriety associated with Goliath's defeat may well have led to the locale's later designation as the place of the skull. As Goliath was deemed a giant of a man, no doubt his skull might well have been oversized. Later, after David becomes the undisputed leader of the Israelites, his army conquers Jerusalem and he makes it his capital city. Perhaps for David, the burial of Goliath's head at the foot of what later became his capital city simply allowed popular culture to appreciate his victory and perpetuate his reputation as the then courageous and emerging leader of the Israelites. Nonetheless, the prevailing consensus among scholars and theologians was that Golgotha, the place of the skull, referred to the natural formation of the terrain where Jesus was later crucified and buried. The site, with its caves, may well have given off an impression of a human skull. Thus, the locale was aptly named due to its overall appearance. Even so, I do not consider it harmful to speculate that Golgotha may well have some association with Goliath of Gath. What is remarkable, though, is that this was the site, however imprecise efforts to pinpoint it have been, of where Jesus was crucified and died. Thus, following the argument I am endorsing, Golgotha may well be associated with two very significant victories: David's over Goliath and Jesus's over death. Perhaps this Easter season, we may ask ourselves, what victories are we prepared to claim and proclaim? Until next time, when we will return to explore added details concerning our story of David and Goliath.